AI and how you can use Pinterest and AI to essentially get the bag, right? When I last went live, we talked about, is Pinterest only for low ticket? And I found that a very interesting question. And I'll just recap that a little bit. Here's the deal. This is why strategy is important. And this is why paying for a program like Pin Profits Mastery is important, okay? In getting the coaching, getting the consultation, getting the strategy session. Because not everyone's Pinterest strategy is going to be the same. If someone is selling you a cookie cutter Pinterest strategy, you need to run the other direction, because the Pinterest strategy for a low ticket offer is going to be considerably different than a Pinterest strategy for a coach who is like $25,000 per client. Okay. Your Pinterest strategy is going to be completely different. In fact, the coach whose packages are like $25,000, there's no platform that people are just going to and buying from you. I highly doubt that, right? High ticket is actually not sold through social media, right? And even though Pinterest is not technically social media, it's kind of like this hybrid of social media along with a search engine. It's important to understand who your ideal client is, not only where they are hanging out, but how they make buying decisions and what triggers that buying decision and how they actually end up transacting with you. Okay. Because often when you're speaking like high ticket, that usually is going to be through some sort of application process, right? Because think about it, your payment processor, you get a $25,000 client and people are running transactions like that. Do you really want a $25,000 transaction just going through your payment processor without you doing your own due diligence on that person? You see what I'm saying? So that's just kind of weird of a question. It's actually kind of like a hater question. Oh, is Pinterest only for low ticket? No, right? Because the reality is, most sales, especially in the world of coaching, when you're selling coaching packages, those are not actually transacted just randomly. Like somebody just came across your content and then they suddenly bought a coaching package, right? Typically, what happens is they actually might buy something lower ticket, and then through really getting to know you, your coaching style, and that, then they escalate, or not escalate, they ascend to a higher price point with you, right? What typically happens is, if they really truly do want something higher end from you, they will request your time to sit down and basically interview you, and then you should also be interviewing them to make sure that it is a right fit. So what I'm saying is, your Pinterest strategy still needs to reflect your sales cycle and your sales strategy. And Pin Profits Mastery does not replace the need for that, because high ticket does involve sales strategy and your sales flow, your sales process. But to rule out having a Pinterest strategy is actually pretty negligible. I'm going to say it. It's negligible to be high ticket and not have some sort of Pinterest strategy to get high quality, high income leads, right? Your higher income leads, your higher ticket, right, potential is on a platform like Pinterest. It is on a platform like LinkedIn, right? It's not to say that they aren't on Facebook, but when they're on Facebook, for example, they have a different intention. They're there to be more social. They're there to keep up with what people they went to college with, they're doing, their marriage, their nuptials, their children, that kind of stuff. But Pinterest is intent based. They are searching for a reason, okay? And so you can go back and you can watch all of that in that video about, is Pinterest a low ticket only, or is it for high ticket also. The thing we're talking about tonight is AI and AI's role on Pinterest, right? How do you bring AI and Pinterest together to get the bag? Okay. And so in the last week, they rolled out Dolly 3, which is the generative AI that they really did their big one with this. Okay. Because you can get pretty accurate text added to your images, and you can do like Barbie style. You can do this studio, I can't even pronounce it, Ghibli style. I've had it creating emojis of me. And so prior to Dolly 3, I was using Ideogram, and I've directed and given instruction to those in Pen Profits Mastery, because it's a program. It's not a course, it's a program on using ideogram to create pins for Pinterest. And I've created some pretty cool looking pins on Pinterest using ideogram. Well, now I've been able to take that to the next level, because now ideogram is on version 3, and there's Dali 3 inside of ChatGPT. And keep in mind, I do pay for ChatGPT Plus, which is the $20 version. Okay. Before it's all said and done, they're probably going to end up getting me into the $200 a month version, because I keep running into limit issues with creating images on ChatGPT, because so many of y'all are using it. And hey, girl, hey, you finally caught me. Hey, Adrian. Right. And so there's definitely going to be some playing around with pricing, and that ChatGPT is going to be doing. I am sure of it. Okay. So I've been using this new Dolly 3 to create pins and to create YouTube thumbnails, right? And I'm really fine tuning my framework here. So I'm not going to share it because it's still very, very messy. I'm still figuring it out, and it doesn't help that I keep running into limits with Dolly 3. So I don't think the framework is just ready yet to release. And when it is released, it's first going to go inside of Pen Profits Mastery, because that's the program that they paid for, is to be kept up to speed on important updates like this. Right. And by the end of April, we're going to have the new user counts for um for active users on Pinterest. My girl Adrian Hill says it takes a bit to fine tune, for sure. It takes a little bit of time to fine tune, for sure. Okay. And so once it is fine tuned, actually before that, I ain't even gonna lie, Pen Profits Mastery, they're gonna get a very basic type structure to get them going, because I don't want to overwhelm them and I don't want to overcomplicate it for them. So they're going to get what I'm doing now in its most basic, purest form, that's going to be easy for them to follow and implement. Because that is the number one goal of Pen Profits Mastery, as a program, not a course, as an experience, not a course, is that it is designed to make Pinterest strategy easy to implement and be able to reduce turnaround time and get it going as quickly as possible for you. And so with that in mind, I've already got the draft, pretty well written, and just need to make some tweaks to it, and they will have it by the end of the week. Now, the more advanced version is something that I will likely, offer a bit of it as a lead magnet to grow my email list, and then some sort of lower ticket offer. Okay. Are you with me so far? Am I making sense here? Okay. Because it's going to be valuable enough to put inside a Pen Profits Mastery, but so as not to overwhelm those that are in there, a more advanced version will be available for purchase. Right. And that's what I'm thinking today. It might change, it might be adjusted, but it's going to be strategic in terms of the customer buyer journey. Okay. Because that is one of the things we teach in Pen Profits Mastery, is knowing what types of content what types of pins to create for the various stages of the buyer's journey, because Pinterest does give you full funnel capability. And so to go back to a high ticket coach, I know several high ticket coaches who have made ungodly amounts of money by drawing in leads from Pinterest, right? By driving traffic to their podcast, by driving traffic to their blog, by driving traffic to evergreen webinars, by driving traffic to lead magnets, by driving traffic to their shopping carts, right? You have to understand that it all begins and ends with creating a strategy and working the heck out of that strategy and modifying it, adjusting it, and controlling it as various things happen within Pinterest policy. For example, they recently announced in the last couple of weeks that they are going to start, like everyone else, they're a little late to the show with this one, labeling generative AI content on Pinterest, right? And I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about that at all, because I have no problem saying this was generated with AI, right? But my true content is always me. But I did love to create images with AI. I've used AI to create whole videos using stock photos and that. And I can't wait for the day. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be a complete menace and nuisance when I can create videos using memojis of me. Because I'm much more comfortable using memojis than I am having AI use my face and voice. I still want control of that. I don't want to be given apps, the right to monetize my voice and my face. I'm just not really interested in doing that. So, I can't wait for that. I'm gonna be a complete menace when I can create, like, remember those old animated videos everybody was making like in 2014? And those, writing on the chalkboard. I can't wait until we can get ChatGPT to do that. And I hope it's coming sooner rather than later. So, here's the deal. It's a great time to be alive, right? I've been seeing in my YouTube feed, because that's my favorite TV channel. I've seen where someone is using Maya Angelou's likeness and her voice, and they're creating faceless content. They've got a whole faceless content channel. Now, personally, I think that's problematic. I think it's problematic. And these are the things that we have to start considering when we, write wills and trusts in that, as far as ownership of our likeness, ownership of our voice, ownership of our face, so that other people aren't out here monetizing your face and your likeness once you are deceased. Do we all have to worry about it? No, but should we all prepare for it? Absolutely. We absolutely should prepare for that. So this is an idea of how you can use AI both on YouTube and Pinterest, because to me YouTube and Pinterest are very, very similar, and most people don't even realize how similar they are, right? I think it's just a little easier to rank with Pinterest than it is with YouTube, and Pinterest is less has less friction in that you have those links. Everything is linkable on Pinterest, and it is not on YouTube. Okay. Now, there is talk of YouTube coming out with their own affiliate program similar to what TikTok has. There is the potential and likelihood of that coming, but again, that's more so them controlling the links, controlling the revenue so that they can get their share. Where Pinterest, you can link to whatever you want and you are not penalized for it. So that gives Pinterest a very unique advantage and a very special spot in my own digital marketing strategy. Okay. Notice what I said, in my own digital marketing strategy. So if you want to learn more about Pin Profits Mastery, you go to the LINK in my bio, and there is a free hour-long training, The Secret to Winning at Pinterest When You Are Short on Time. You can take that. You also can hit the contact button and you can contact me, and we can have a discussion and schedule 10 minutes or so to chat if we need to, but serious inquiries only. If you don't have the money, if you're not interested in buying, if you're not able to get Klarna or do the forepay or anything like that, please don't waste my time. And I'm not saying that to be rude, but time is of the essence if y'all haven't noticed, right? And ain't nobody got time to be talking to you because you just like to be on my face. I've been doing this a really long time, and I know there are people who just like to get my attention and they just want to be in my face, which is really weird to me, but I'll take it. But just know that, my time is very precious and expensive, right? My presence is a privilege and a present, right? My energy is expensive and exclusive, and that is real, very very real talk. So when it comes to AI and Pinterest, you can use it to not only create the pins, but you can use AI throughout your full funnel to help you write landing pages, to help you write webinars that are evergreen, right? To me though, you don't take a webinar evergreen until you know that it is converting at a certain point. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real because it's not cheap to run an evergreen webinar. And so if you're gonna run an evergreen webinar system, you need to make sure that it is high converting, right? And you want to be able to drive and have the budget to drive massive amounts to it, because anything that is evergreen, because I learned this very early on. You're either going to pay for with your time or pay with your dollars or some combination of the two when it comes to digital marketing. Nothing is ever actually free. What is that quote? If you don't have a seat at the table, if you don't have a chair at the table, you're on the plate or something like that, right? So you have to understand, when stuff is free, you are the product, right? If it's free, you're the product, right? Your time, your attention. Don't get it twisted. These platforms, including Pinterest and Facebook and TikTok, they are selling ad space for you to consume content and be able to see those ads. For basic TV was never free. The cost was to have to watch those commercials. Okay? That's Econ 101 in 10th or 11th grade, whatever it is. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You're paying with your eyeballs, your attention, or you're paying with your dollars. That's why whenever you watch YouTube on your TV, which is the number one way that I watch it now, they always offer a free month of YouTube TV or whatever it is, or YouTube Premium, where you can not have to pay to skip the ad, right? And I know people who they just can't. That's too much for them. For me, I want to watch as much free as I can. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. That's the name of the game for me. So AI, if you're not, I'm gonna put it to you this way: if you look at what Elania has done, right? It was talked about over the weekend and late last week that X was bought by XAI or something like that, which, at the end of the day, that's all under his umbrella. Dude still owns it, right? So as people have been saying, that's a not a wealth transfer. That's a balance transfer. He did a balance transfer. He absolutely did. Okay. But the thing I want to talk to you about is, why did he make that balance transfer? He made that balance transfer because of something that's called a margin call. And I'm not going to go all into that. You can look that up. But basically, the man is leveraged to the hilt. He did not create those cars, he did not create SpaceX. He bought all of those things. That is called leverage. He had enough money to buy things that are already in existence, right? That is all he deserves credit for. And I'm not just saying that because we don't jive politically or socially, right? Because I'm definitely not someone that he would like to be in the company of. He don't like my skin color. Okay, let's be real, right? He's done the signal. What do you call it? The salute. And you can deny it all you want to, but he did. Okay, so he did that because he is leveraged. His leverage when he bought X, if things, the stock market, the way the stock market has been in chaos and in free fall, his margin call was coming due, right? And you can look this up because some of this goes back to the Great Depression. And there were a lot of people, a lot of those men who looked like him that unalived themselves after that Black Monday, Bloody Monday, or whatever it was called. And it's because they held all these stocks of these companies, but they used other people's money, they used loans to acquire those stocks. And then when the balance hits a certain limit, the margin is called, meaning they got to pay. They got to pay. They got to come up with the money to cover that. So it's like they got an outstanding bet, like they were fronted money and now the loan is due immediately, and large sums of money. And so to avoid being in that situation, he sold it to one of his other companies. Okay. I bring that up because I need you to understand that people like him and y'all's president, they are very astute at using other people's time, resources, talent, money, knowledge, and wisdom. And for them, the name of the game is to not only be leveraged, but to the point of exploitation. Meaning they don't want to pay fair market value. They want to pay people, for what it's worth in as much as they can. And they arbitrarily decide who is worth getting fair market value and who is not, right? So someone who looks like me, they don't think I have much worth because of merely the color of my skin. And so they want as much of my labor as they can get for free. And that is why people are being sent to Salvadorian prisiones. Okay. So why am I talking to you about that? I'm bringing that up to you because you need to learn to use leverage. We're in a time of intense tariffs and potential inflation in that. And so not only do you have to know how to use your existing dollars better, you need to be able to make more dollars, right? And that, I'm just gonna be honest with you, time and a half and overtime in that is probably not your best option. Your best option is being able to make as much money as possible 24/7, including in your sleep, on the toilet, in the shower, on vacation, without having to be present. And that's what I've been saying for years, but it needs to go beyond that. And how do you create content as frictionless as possible without having to pay all kinds of VAs and do all these, and pay for all these various things, right? And AI is a great way to do that. And getting that content on a platform like Pinterest to drive traffic to your offers in all the places that I've mentioned before is a brilliant way to do that. And that is why I am so passionate about Pinterest and the program that I created, Pin Profits Mastery, because it allows you to do that. It allows you to manage your resources and use leverage in order to be able to get that traffic. Because remember, to make money online, you need a high converting offer, right? And you need traffic, you need attention, you need eyeballs, right? But people get so caught up in just going viral so they can get the eyeballs, but they don't have a strategy for what to do once they have the attention. They don't have a strategy to go viral within a category and then aligning a product to that. They just want to go viral and think that going viral is going to make them money, and they only think about the monetization programs. There should be so many layers to your income. So many layers. Yes, you should be monetized with the platform, but you also should have your own monetized websites. You should have monetized communities. on Facebook, school, go high level, whatever, right? There should be levels. People should have to pay for your time and attention. Yes, I said it. People should have to pay. And to work with you, for you to either do the work with them or do the work for them, should be the highest price point because of the opportunity cost of taking your time and attention away from your own business, from your own family, from your own goals, dreams, and desires. People should pay you heftily for that. And the right people will. Thanks for the love. Hi, Amy. Hello, hello, hello. Amy is in Pin Profits Mastery, right? So AI is a way to generate leverage. We have got to stop being afraid of AI. We've got to stop being afraid of it. AI is going to take your job. No, it's not. It's the person like me who knows how to leverage AI and get better results with less effort. Okay, the worst place to be right now is in this mindset that you have to work really hard and struggle to create income. That is the worst place to be right now because the limit, the threshold is so low. Hi, smart. I'm becoming AI certified. Yes, the threshold is so low that you're going to keep bumping your head up against that income ceiling. By doing that, you are literally creating a ceiling right dab smack on top of your head. Okay? You want to remove that ceiling and start using AI. And you can go to Chat GPT and you can ask it. Now, I know a lot of people, I do like Perplexity, but my mainstay, my main gal, my home gal is Chat GPT because she knows me the best. And they're all based off of Chat GPT anyway. And now Chat GPT can do a lot of the things that the others were doing anyway. So the only other one I'd still like Claude and I still like Perplexity. The other one I really got to give a good run for, but I'm a little iffy on, is DeepSeek just because, it's from a foreign entity. So you got to be very careful with what you say on there and how you use it. Okay? But AI is your leverage. AI is going to help you. Like you guys have to understand. I don't have my phone's not in here clearly because I'm using it. We have the same phone as these people. We have the same phone with the same capabilities as an Alania Musk, right? As a Kim K. We have the same super powered computer in the palm of our hands. I've got the same MacBook, right? I've got the same access to the same internet, to the same Chat GPT that I know of, because sometimes they be having stuff we don't know about. But the whole point is, yes, the game is rigged. I'm not going to lie. The game is rigged to a certain degree. But there are more ways to penetrate and get in the game and get out as much as you can. And if you're not going to be willing to use AI, that's like saying I still would rather walk 7 miles to work than, or actually longer than that, saying I want to walk 40 miles to and from work every day instead of taking public transportation or your own vehicle, right? That's like saying you want to grow the cow, um, slaughter the cow, and process the cow and cook, right? Now, if you have dreams and desires of doing that, there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that it's going to take time because the cow has to be born, or you got to locate the cow, get it on your ranch, you got to feed it, you got to groom it, because I love watching cow pedicure videos, right? You got to hope it doesn't get sick. If it does, you got to take it to the vet. And then you got to know when to slaughter it or take it to the slaughterhouse. And then from the slaughterhouse, you got to take it to the meat processor, right? And then you got to have the marketing, get it to people or get it, in your fridge. But it's not cost effective to just have one cow every year that you actually raise, take care of, and get slaughtered and processed. So what do? You go to the people that do that and you get your processed cow from them, or quarter cow, or half a cow. In this case, the rancher, the slaughterhouse, and the meat processor is ChatGPT. It's AI. It's AI. You should be using AI. The first thing I thought of when I heard about Dolly 3 rolling out was I want to create pins with this. Because I'd already been using Ideogram and it came out with some better looking pins than I've ever created. Better looking pins than any template I've ever had. It looked like a professional graphic designer created those pins. And let me tell you, I'm a bad motherfucker when it comes to marketing, but I am not a graphic designer. That is not my strength. And I am okay with that. And I will tell you that. Can I make better graphics than most people? Better pins than most people? Yes. But I'm talking about this was like A1, numero uno, like top of the line stuff. Okay? Like ultra professionally created, looking like you would see it in a magazine or on a, like from a major advertising firm on TV or something like that. It was good. It's good stuff, right? What's it called? I like Canva, but I'm not loving graphics creation. So you're in the group, right? Do you have the notifications on? Because I've shared Ideogram, and then I've talked about using Doll E, and I'm coming out with a guide for those in the Pin Profits Mastery program, because we don't call it a course because it's more than a course. Okay. So yeah, make sure you're paying attention in the group. I would go check the group out on Facebook. If you need me to send you the link for it again, just message me and I will send it to you. But yeah, I've shared Ideogram and shared some of the pins that I've created in in an Ideogram as well as Doll E. So yeah, that's the thing with FB. They share what they want to share. Okay, they notify you what they want to notify you. So I'm sorry that you missed that. Yes, in the community. Okay, so AI is your leverage. It is how you get more done without sacrificing more of your time. Okay. Now there are people who think that it's going to put Canva out of business. I don't think it's going to put Canva out of business. Not anytime soon. Especially because, like I said, I keep running into limitations. I keep running into walls, right? It's a little bit of a ways before it's going to run Canva out of business, and that's why Canva keeps reinventing themselves. I love how they come up with an event. This is the 2nd or 3rd April they're doing this, kind of like how when Apple does their big event in September to tell you about the new iPhone, the new MacBook, and all of that. I think they do it maybe twice a year. I know they do the big one in September. Canva is doing that, and theirs is in April. And so April 10th, I've already registered for whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on my calendar to see what they come out with and what they roll with. Now, Dolly 2 was available inside of Canva. It was. I don't know about Dolly 3 because I haven't tried it. Because even Dolly 2, I just prefer to use it right within ChatGPT, and so that's how I use it. I just got better results that way. But there is a lot of different AI with Canva Pro. See, that's what y'all got to understand. You got to pay to play. They are business expenses. When my ChatGPT expenditure every month is a business expense. Canva Pro, I pay for that annually, a business expense. It comes off of my taxes. Okay? And so you've got to pay to play. Leverage. You want to talk about leverage? You want to know what real leverage is? Leverage is learning Pinterest strategy from me instead of piecing all these little pieces together from YouTube. And what I teach in Pin Profits Mastery, you're not going to find on YouTube. The idea that these people online want to give y'all that you can find it all free on YouTube is not true. YouTube is usually months behind. Because I'm going to tell you a secret. The people who create free content, other than the newbies and the novices, they're not telling you what they're currently doing that's working. They're telling you what they've done that worked, and it probably is already outdated by the time they publish that video. That's real talk. Absolute real talk. And I know because I used to be that person that was just always looking, oh, it's free on YouTube. I don't have to pay for that course. And then, I'm hitting a wall and I'm looking, and the problems that I'm running into today are not answered on YouTube. YouTube is not that up to date. In fact, a lot of the people that were creating free Pinterest content on YouTube, they have not created and updated new videos in months, if not 6 months or a year. But for the up to date, up to the minute, Pin Profits Mastery is the place to be because you get lifetime access. It's self study at your own pace. And then there are times like I'm thinking of re recording some of the modules, and I will do that live exclusively for members who are in Pin Profits Mastery. And it's a very high likelihood that I'm going to do that. Number one, my girl Amy asked me about it weeks ago, and there's so many new things that have come up, since the beginning of the year, and especially in recent weeks, that I do think it's time to really fine tune the AI part of Pinterest and incorporate that into some of the modules, because the goal is to make it easy. Pinterest made easy is really what the program is about, right? But easy still means you got to do work. You still got to go through the modules. You still got to go through the modules. You still got to learn. You still got to apply. You still got to, information plus application equals transformation, right? And then I'm also rolling out a Pinterest VIP experience. Yes, did I say it wrong, Amy? Simple versus easy. I always get those two confused. But you rolling with me, girl? We've been together a while here. She was a coaching client years ago. Okay. So what was I saying? I forgot. I cut myself off. I cut myself off. But yeah, you can't just think, oh, you can go get it from YouTube, because a lot of the information that you're going to find on YouTube is outdated. The VIP program, thank you, girl. Look at you, got my back. Okay, so I'm going to be rolling out. I've already been beta testing a VIP experience where when you join Pin Profits Mastery, I will set up or re-optimize, re-strategize an existing Pinterest, unless it's just like way off base, right? And making, and setting up your profile picture, your description, your first board, and 5 pins. Okay. And so I've got people who have had that as a bonus, and we're going to see how that works. And this works out. It will be a new tier that is available for existing who have not had that to upgrade to, or for new people. So there will be pin profits at the base price, and then for an additional bump up, for a premium is the word I'm looking for a premium price, they can get the full experience where they have the course. Okay. And where this idea comes from is, number one, um just being the person that I am, I want to see people get the results. I want people to get transformation. I don't want to just be charging them. Okay. And again, Pin Profits Mastery is not just selling you knowledge. Amy will tell you it is not merely knowledge. Mm-mm. Nope. There's so much more than knowledge or wisdom. There's strategy. There's why. There's this needs to boil down to some dollars and cents, as my daddy says. Okay. The other reason is I just know that there are people who are looking to not do the work themselves. But I've also had clients in the past, for example, where I helped them with Facebook ads, right? But then they wanted to, oh, just teach me what you're doing. And then I'm done with you. Like, no, you didn't, that's not in the contract. That's not what we contracted to do. If you want me to teach you ads, then you need to pay me to teach you ads, right? And so what this VIP experience does is it gives the person the ability to learn the information, to have me do it for them, and then they can give instructions to their VA, to whomever, for them to be able to do the work for them, because a lot of my ideal clients, they just don't want to do the work. I'm gonna be honest with you. They want to pay, they want to outsource it to someone else, but I'm a firm believer in you need to know what you're outsourcing. Otherwise you get scammed by just thinking you can just outsource things and not know where you're outsourcing and what to expect and what the strategy is. You are responsible for the strategy in your business. You are responsible for inspecting what you expect. You are responsible for giving adequate and appropriate instruction that can be easily followed and replicated no matter who is performing the task. And anyone who purchases Pen Profits Mastery has the ability to buy a seat in Pen Profits Mastery for their VA. But the seat that they purchase in Pen Profits Mastery is not one that they can share with multiple people. One seat, one link, one purchase, one person. If you got two people, you got partners, then you got to buy two seats in the program, right? That's like you can't say, oh, we're a couple. We're going to the Beyonce concert. We're going on the Cowboy Carter tour and watching Beyonce, and we're a couple. So we bought one ticket and we're both going. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Okay. And, it's a digital product. So there's no refunds. So you can't buy it and let it sit for a month and then think you can come back and say, "Oh, I really want my VA to do it." No, because you could have been downloading my guides and my workbooks and my transcripts. Can't do it. Mm-mm. You gotta buy a seat for your VA. Okay, and so that's just business. That's capitalism. That's how this works. And if you don't know that, then perhaps it's time to take a class. I was gonna say a clissy class, but that just doesn't even sound right. That sounds really bad. So, what questions do you have that I can answer for you while I take a little bit of water, wet my whistle? What questions do you have that I can answer for you? AI is already a significant chunk of the Pen Profits Mastery program. There are prompts in there. Pinterest has its own built-in AI that I walk you through and teach you. For example, it can read your images, and so we talk about the implication of that. Um, there's a whole module. Module 4 is on Pinterest and AI. So, but I still think outside of that, I probably will record. I'm thinking I'm probably going to re-record or add to all 6 modules. I do think that I might do that. I got to pray on it. I got to sleep on it, but we will see. Or if I don't re record them, there will be some updated guides that really incorporate AI to make this as easy as possible for the program participants because I want people to be successful. It's not a cheap, low ticket, meaning it's not like $27 or something like that. I saw a thread today that really ticked me off about forget $500 courses. You just, put together a 20 to 40 page PDF. Yeah, no. With the guys that are in Pin Profits Mastery, we are well over 40 pages. Well over 40. Plus, there's so much value in the side banter because the modules were recorded live. There's so much value in that. Like, yeah, no. Mm-mm. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. And so this week, if you join Pin Profits Mastery this week, you get 55 Pinterest templates. You're going to get the new guide when it comes out on, AI generation and Pinterest for Dummies. You're going to get you get the templates and you get the new guide, right? So you're going And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to throw in a strategy session. You'll get a strategy session if you join Pin Profits Mastery this week. If you join by Friday, you'll get those things from me. I should have looked up my offer because I have different offers every 3 to 6 weeks. I come up with different offers, and right now, because Pin Profits Mastery, there's been so much interest. People have been reaching out to me and wanting information that's the offer. So I came up with the offer, and um, there are different offers, and I'm wondering if I'm merging some of them, but I'm going to have to stick to it now. I'll give you the strategy session and you'll get the 55 templates, right? And you'll get the new guide that's going to be released in the next week, which is on AI, Pinterest and AI generation for dummies. You know, like the yellow and black books for dummies. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. It's a great program. Um, AI is your leverage. It's how you make this so much easier, and you get so much more done. The workflows that I have, and nobody's giving you workflows on YouTube. I can tell you that right now. People are not giving you workflows, or if they give you the workflow for free, you still got to go to their course to get the spreadsheet or the doc or whatever it is. Because that's capitalism. That's how this works. Okay, it's just how it works. You ain't got to like it, but you got to respect it. But you also can't be out here talking about manifesting money and manifesting dreams, and you are not in the current. That's what currency means. You're not in the current of the currency. It's a flow. You're not in the flow. You just want to take from the flow, and the way the flow works is usually you give more than you take. So yes, Pen Profits Mastery is $555, but it's a well over $2,000 value. The bonuses alone that are inside of there, not the bonuses I just mentioned, but the bonuses like my avatar course that's in there, all of that added up is about $2,400 in bonuses, plus the 55 templates, plus the strategy session. Okay. So it's well worth it, right? So if you're interested in that, like I said, go to the link in my bio, and you can take that free training. I've got a free training, right? Right inside of my bio, where you can get that free training and learn a lot about Pinterest from that, which comes with a download for free also. And then from there you can learn more about the course. You can also hit that contact button and email me. Don't text me, email me, because I don't think that service exists anymore. So email me, and I we can schedule a brief chat, but serious inquiries only. Serious inquiries only. Do not book time with me if you are not interested. If you are not like 90% of the way interested, if you're 10% of the way interested, you need to keep consuming content. Don't don't book my time if you're not, just needing a little nudge to buy, right? Please don't do that. Okay? So I hate to sound that way, but you got to really, it's like dealing with kids, sometimes like when you're dealing with kids, you got to really really like get out of your body sometimes to get their attention. And sometimes people online, you practically got to get out of your body for them to really understand the seriousness and the gravity of what their actions cause or don't cause. And in this case, you are literally keeping me by taking my time from my family, from my dreams, my goals, my own business, from my clients, if you're not serious, right? I personally would never book a call like that with someone if I was not serious about buying. If I knew that the money was an issue, I would not book their time knowing that money was not an issue. No matter how much I liked them and no matter how much they liked me and were having a conversation with me and willing to do it, I'm not going to waste their time. And I have so much respect for people who tear me as a heart attack, right? Amy says as a heart attack. Serious as a heart attack, right? You just don't do that, right? And I'm saying it with love. I'm saying it with kindness because I know some people just don't know that. you just don't know. And so I'm breaking it down to the very last compound, as I'm known to do, and letting you know that that's not acceptable. That's not something that you do, right? Because typically how these calls work is I answer whatever questions you have. I find out what it is you're looking for, what you are doing, and making sure everything is a matchup, because I don't want you asking for a refund. I don't want you filing a dispute. So I want to make sure that it's a good match for you before I give you that link and ask you for your payment. Okay. And so we're going to do that. And I just want to know a little bit about you, a little bit about your business, to tell you what the program is about. And I will even pull up and show you screen to screen. So if you don't have the money at the end of that call or shortly thereafter, or the ability to get approval through Klarna or Afterpay or through a credit card, then you're not ready, and that's okay. And so then I'm going to direct you to some different resources or give you some steps that you can take to make the money and get it paid for. And if you can't do that, then you really don't want it. And please don't waste my time. Did I say that nicely enough, Amy? Does that make sense? Did I say that with enough love and care? Because like we've just got to do better. We have got to do better. Like, y'all, do you know you only have 30 minutes? 30 minutes. Yeah. It is time. People like Amy and I go way back. Okay. Amy and I go way back. And yes, I sell products and services to people in my sleep, to people that I've never talked to, people that I don't know, but I also sell to people that I know, and people in my own network, and people who have previously bought from me. And so Amy and I were both in the same company, and she found me through my content. I did not know her. She found me through my content, and we did some coaching packages together. So I can tell you, and that was like, gosh, like 2015, maybe 2016. It definitely wasn't 2018. It was well before that. It had to be like 2015, 2016, I think. Right. And so people like Amy and I have been talking to you for well over 10 years about what is happening right now. Before AI got here, before we ever even knew that there would be a Chat GPT, a Claude, a Perplexity, or any of these AI softwares, we knew that there would come a time where more people would be working from home. And the only reason they aren't now is because the corporate overlords, right? We knew all of this was coming. We knew that there would come a time where more people are going to have to figure it out and how to live and not just survive, but to actually thrive without a traditional job. We've been Amy, am I right? Am I right or am I right? Now, when I asked her the question before, did I say it with enough love? She said yes, for those who like straight talk, right? But we've been warning you and talking about these things for years, for over a decade in my case, since 2013, 2014. My grandson was born in 2014. His 11th birthday is coming up, and he was a baby the very first time Amy and I sat down and chatted about a lot of this stuff. So it's time to not only listen, it's time to take notes and start taking action, because the clock is ticking. Do you know what's projected to happen by 2030? And y'all still hemming and hawing on whether or not you should do Pinterest and have a strategy to drive traffic? There are sources that I used to get traffic from that don't even exist anymore. But Pinterest has always been my number one or number two traffic source. And it still is. I still get leads and customers from Pinterest. From Pinterest and YouTube. I've had to privatize content on YouTube because that company that Amy and I both were a part of, I left that company in 2018. And for over 2 years, I was still getting people in my inbox who wanted to join my team and who wanted to buy product from me. And I was referring them to people within that company without so much as a kickback. That is the power of, remember I said your pair and a spare, and your pair, I got it from a dating book years ago. I got it from a dating book years ago, right? And so the idea is that you have two guys that you're dating and you have another one that's kind of like your wingman. He's on the bench, right? And so your pair is a primary and a secondary. And what the reason you do that when you're dating is you don't get so enamored with one prematurely and get your feelings hurt. This is the stuff I wish I'd known in high school and middle school, right? And then nobody told me. I didn't learn until my 30s, okay? Because I pretty much had been domesticated most of my 20s. So it's the same thing with social media. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, to sound completely and utterly cliche. So you have your pair, your primary and your secondary. They cannot be owned by the same entity. So you got to know who owns what. And we talk about this all the time. We talk about it all the time. So FB and IG are both in the metaverse. So is WhatsApp, right? Google owns YouTube. A lot of people don't know that. Pinterest is freestanding. TikTok is freestanding. Meta did not buy a TikTok. Please stop saying that. It annoys the shit out of me every time I hear that, because it speaks to a lot of financial illiteracy to think that Meta secretly bought TikTok. That is legally impossible. And I know the legality of our system is under a lot of pressure right now, but it has not completely crumbled. Meta cannot secretly, as a publicly traded company, buy TikTok. So please don't say that in my presence, because it just makes me all kinds of like, whoo, calm down. Okay. So you got to know who owns what. And the reason that your primary and secondary can't be owned by the same entity is there are days when Meta is down. They haven't done it yet, but I suspect some people are going to get banned. If you get banned on one, you get banned on all of them. By the way, Threads is also owned by Meta. So Threads and Facebook can't be your primary and secondary, right? And I've updated your secondary. And the reason it's in secondary place, but it's actually of primary importance. Ooh, that was good. It's in second place, but it's of primary importance, is SEO. You cannot, y'all, the days of just social media, socialing, and not having SEO in place, those days are over. They never existed in my world, but those days are over. Those days are over, right? You need SEO. The Pinterest user has a lot different intent than the FB user. Even TikTok, it's completely different, right? Completely different intent. On TikTok, they're very open to discovering new products that they didn't even think about or were aware of. And on Pinterest, they are actually planning. They're searching for the product. So don't get TikTok and Pinterest confused. They are not the same thing. TikTok is definitely much more of the algorithm understanding its user base and knowing what products to put in front of them. And yes, people do some searching, but search is just a bonus on TikTok, in my opinion. Like Gen Z does use it to search more than they use Google to search, but I still don't think they're searching for the products, right? They're searching for information. They're not necessarily searching to buy stuff. So that says to me, as a marketing professional, remember over 3 decades, that TikTok is still much more about them testing and putting product in front of people. And I think people on TikTok are just more open to, oh my God, they're much more susceptible, usually largely because it's a younger base of, oh, this is viral. I keep hearing this. I got to try it. TikTok made me try it, right? Whereas on Pinterest, and I've shown that diagram, that Pinterest is part of the planning process. Facebook, Snapchat, and all of that are what someone has done or while they were there. But before they're there, they're on Pinterest researching, right? I was talking to someone who works with a lot of real estate agents today. And I'm like, yeah, so they're on Pinterest planning the decor for that new dream home. Why aren't real estate agents on there? Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Because think about it from a manifestation standpoint. You're putting the dream board, the vision board together, and Pinterest actually has a collage tool that allows you to put that that vision board together, right? I've got a vision board on Pinterest including the house and what I want it to look like, the rooms I want it to have and how I want them to be decorated, the furniture and all of that, right? So if you're, I give the example of right now we're in festival season. Coachella is coming up, okay? Coachella is coming up. So people are, pinners, not people, pinners are on Pinterest searching for Coachella makeup. They're searching for Coachella hairstyles and fashion. It's part of the planning process. There are pinners who, beginning by May, are already going to be searching on Pinterest for holiday gift ideas, holiday decoration ideas. So pinners are planners. Those are customers. Those are people with money to spend, right? Those are people with budget. Those are higher end customers. So back to that original question of, well, is Pinterest only low ticket? That's your misunderstanding. I'm sorry. But pinners are planners. Pinners have pesos. I couldn't help it because it started with a P. But those pinners have the dollars, baby. Even the Gen Zers, they have the dollars. They're into aesthetic. They're into performance. Okay. They're into providing experiences, right? They're into themes. Not just, hey, everybody come over and watch the Super Bowl with me, but they put out a full spread and they have it with an aesthetic and they get really into the decorations. There are also a good number of do it yourselfers. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Pinterest is money, baby. Pinners, we call my dad Griswold, like Clark Griswold, like, because like that first National Lampoon's Christmas, how all the lights and that, we call my dad Griswold because he's either gonna do it and go all the way or he ain't gonna do it. My grandma was the same way. Like my grandma Christmas time, ever since I've grown up. If y'all think that people that look like me don't go, like the whole with Love Megan thing and how that's blown y'all mind is really mind blowing to me because I grew up with that grandma that had Santa's Village. The lady had a whole room in the basement that was nothing but Christmas decorations, including the tree, the fancy punch bowl, and all of that. For if she was hosting for somebody, she hosted. Right? I have an auntie who passed away. Tomorrow it will be 3 years to the day. Okay. And I always say she'd be a billionaire had she had TikTok back in the 90s and the 80s. Because the queen of organization, she sold Tupperware. And she was the first person I knew to have, and she did it family member by family member. Everybody went and bought all the Tupperware and had everything organized in their pantry and labeled and all of that. All of her jewelry, and she had jewelry for every piece of clothing and everything coordinated. and it all was organized. She could make, if she went to the store and couldn't find the curtains that she wanted to match her whatever room in her house, she would buy the material and make them herself. So she would have been the perfect lifestyle creator, multifaceted, right? That's who's on Pinterest. Thank you. That's who's on Pinterest. And I don't know why people are afraid to go into it and tap into it, because it's the easiest in terms of you don't got to be on there all day, every day, stand on one leg, bark like a dog, holler at the moon, turn around, do the hokey pokey, frontwards, backwards in Spanish, English, and Portuguese. You don't have to do that. You just got to optimize your stuff. And then you can re-optimize it and you're not penalized. And you can add a link and drive the traffic wherever you want the traffic to go. And so if you've got a Shopify store, you can upload your catalog, and you don't your pinners don't even have to leave Pinterest to make a transaction with you. Same with Etsy. If you're an Amazon affiliate, they don't even have to leave Pinterest. You just got to make sure you've set everything up right. Right? If you're a TikTok shopper, a TikTok shop person, a TikTok affiliate, why are you not repurposing your videos and putting them over on Pinterest? Why are you not linking them to the product on TikTok shop once you put them over there? And then why are you not modifying it and then linking to the Amazon product? And then on top of that, you can tag the product right from Amazon into Pinterest. Why are you not putting it on YouTube with the link in the description? That's why you need to join Pin Profits Mastery, because I got a big old brain, as my clients tell me, and you are leaving so much money on the table. I am the queen of one piece of content making me money on multiple platforms. The queen. Tens of thousands of dollars repurposing content onto Pinterest. And that's why I created Pin Profits Mastery. That's why I created it. Because I was like, why are more people not talking about this? Do y'all know you can do this? It almost feels like stealing. And you're not. It's perfectly allowable. You just have to know how to do it. And that's what I walk you through in the program. And you're not going to find that information on YouTube. Not outside of these videos where I talk a little bit about it. I give you more in depth in the course. And you get lifetime access, self-study at your own pace. And there might be some live videos coming, I'll say by June. Got to do it. I think I'm going to get ready to go. My stomach's getting, I've been on here. I've been on here for over an hour. So yeah, I'm going to get ready to go. And I'll be live again tomorrow. I've got my setup. I'm really excited. I got my new furniture. It is so cute. It is, I feel like I'm in a New York apartment right now. So I got to get more decorations on the wall and that, but I feel like I'm in a New York apartment right now. I'm very happy. Everything is gray, but I've got pops of color, and I'm going to get more pops of of color, because we got this dark charcoal gray here. But I like that because I got grandkids, and I know from raising their mama and auntie how kids quickly and easily dirty stuff up. And they're younger than my kids were last at home, and I couldn't have nice things when I had kids at home. I couldn't. I absolutely couldn't. So I am going to get ready to go. Check out Pen Profits Mastery. DM me, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to chat with you and help you. But I really, if you're not serious, like, don't waste my time. for just for kicks and giggles. Okay. Please don't do that. Right. Because I will block you and never talk to you or work with you. Just know that. Okay. So I am going to go. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for commenting and the hearts. And I will see you on the next live. If you're not following, make sure you click up there and you follow. Bye bye.